We mentioned, I know you know who she is now, Marz. We actually introduced you to her on the podcast. Ari Lennox, who is signed to J. Cole's Dreamville label, you know what I mean? Nice chocolate ice cream as you described her. Shout out to Ari. She got a new album coming out, and Jake, of course, I mean J. Cole is the owner of the label, so any music that comes out under his shit, shout out to Jid, dropped last week. I mean, we're in the fourth quarter, so all them niggas that are at that level or trying to get to that level are dropping now. Shout out to Cole for putting Ari album seems like it's coming out soon, and Jid album dropping in the fourth quarter was like a estimate that Cole is really that nigga because he could have been like, yo, I want to put out my album this month. I mean, this quarter. He let his people. He still might be able to if he wants to do that, but he letting his people come out at this time too, where they know music sales are kind of the best from like historical context. But anyway, Cole put out an Instagram post because Ari's album is coming out, and I got up here. So it's a text that he shared that Ari sent to him, and he goes, "I asked Ari what this new album means to her. I needed to know because I fuck with it so heavy. What I hear is the high and lows, joys and pains of dating life in 2022. But her answer made it even deeper for me. Appreciate you, Ari. Looking forward to hearing the rest. Looking forward to the rest of the world hearing it." The line that I appreciated the most was I don't like I said I haven't heard any of the music, and I'm gonna read her shit too because what she said had like a lot of value of where I was getting to with this post. But it's about the highs and lows and joys and pains of dating life in 2022. I thought that was valuable because it's like taking it from her. She's someone that's like in the industry or whatever, you know what I mean? She is of some status. So she's not just in the dating world of just, you know what I mean, just regular motherfuckers out here trying to find like just dating. But even in the world of the motherfucker that's not at her level or not in her industry, dating in that world is different. It's just as difficult too, you know what I mean? Like it's a fucking dancing dog and shoney dog and pony show that you gotta go through just to fucking date nowadays. But I'm not gonna read. It's a long ass text that she posted. I'm gonna just read some of it what she said. But the text that he was referring to, she sent him. She goes, and this was him asking her what this new album means to her. So she responds, traditional space, very vulnerable, codependent, and validation seeking part of my life. I remember the countless times I was kicked out of dating apps because they didn't think I was really myself, crying emoji. It reminded me of those age, sex, location days where I was actually being myself in those chat rooms. Crying emoji. She took it back to that ASL age, sex, location in them forums and them chats. It's crazy. Look how it come around though. We talked about aim and texting and shit earlier with Lord and shit. But she continues. I spent so much time seeing God and good in some abusive people, neglecting my needs and self worth, romanticizing terrible people, ignoring red flags, ignoring my opinions, and these knots in my stomach when interacting with these people I'm dating. Communicating my concerns immediately. No more tiptoeing, no more docile, providing grace and compassion to myself. Basically, she goes on, but it seems like this album she was really getting in her bag of it's kind of crazy. We did mention this earlier on the other pod, but putting yourself first, fam, being selfish within your own mental health space. Like, you know what I mean? So I thought that shit was cool because it's like that's a very big topic when it comes to dating, just surviving in this world as a human on your own. Like, if you don't have somebody that you want to be a partner with that can support you along those ways of allowing you that space to be vulnerable, allowing you that space to, you know what I mean, get your opinions off with a judgment free zone. You know what I mean? It's just someone that's down for you. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a relationship. That's important for humans in this world. So I fuck with Cole putting this text out and how he even introduced that shit to us. And for nothing, this is a good rollout because I'm interested in hearing this Ari album now. I was gonna listen anyway, but even more now. I'm like, oh shit, that's kind of interesting. I'm into that. What y'all niggas think about that? What you think, Drugs? I know you fuck with the R&B bag heavy like I do. you probably a little way more than me, but how you feel about Ari coming out with some new shit and just that whole back and forth that she had with Cole and shit, and him deciding to put that out? Because I mean, I like I said, I thought it was. I don't know if drugs might not be able to hear me, but shit, I just appreciated it for multiple reasons, man. Like Cole being the level of success that he's at, and I mean he's running this label, but he's not afraid. Like a lot of artists get um accused of when they're the main act on the label, they get accused heavily of putting themselves first and not really taking care of the artists on their label. I appreciate Cole always being that nigga for any artist that's above underneath him, in quote unquote, signed to him. Boss, JID, even Dreamville as a label, he makes sure he represents them niggas in the best way that he can. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
but
He never takes away from them.
the the only thing is about those situations, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't be knowing like the depths of like the label situations because sometimes eh, I'm just speaking in general. Like sometimes like they start these labels and they don't necessarily be running that label per se. Like they have people in position who might take care of that certain thing, or it might be somebody above them even that has a bit more power that's running that side of things. So I don't know, like sometimes I don't think it be fully on, like niggas like Cole, because yeah, I guess he's the top of the label or whatever. Like
He's the
I don't really
face.
know how yeah, I don't really know how they found the foundation is. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
do. I agree with what you said though. Like I fuck with that part about Cole, at least from what I know.
From what we were presented with,
Yeah,
like you said, we really don't know. But what is presented to us, because there's some shit that other labels, and not to put anybody out there, but there's some shit that is not presented to us. Like I said, we only could go off what is presented to us that we see in the public. But it's a lot of shit that I think the lack of presenting shit to us in the public and what you present goes the same way. Because we can come up with our own opinions based off of the lack of presentation. Like somebody might be signed to another nigga and we don't see them promoting them. So we could come up with a narrative being like, oh, he not trying to let that nigga outshine him. So for Cole, at least what it seems to us in the public, he tries to present his artist in a nice light. Like I said, last week GD dropped and Cole had another post about that shit, like saying he was proud of the nigga, like similar to this Ari post. He didn't share a text, he just kind of put a heartfelt message out about Jid album dropping. So I mean, like the intentions come across way different when that part is attached to it as well. I mean, just shout out to Cole. I wanted to shout Cole out on that. And Ari, I mean, I want to hear it. I want to hear that new album, man. I'm curious.
definitely.
Still on your block, you niggas know what it is, homie. The fifth on me, I smear bullets at your rail, homie. Put a stack up, or call for backup. It's still HBU, heartbreak, or get cracked up. Money I chase, fuck clearing it out the bank. My niggas run up and chase, duck take the staff, get the cash, then we escape. Agree with me? If you don't, then go some balls, nigga. Focus on what you got, never dwell on your loss, nigga. Life is hard for a young black man selling drugs. Fuck a hoe just because.